All right. Well, it's right at 2. We'll try and be prompt and respectful of everybody's time this afternoon or morning, wherever in the world you may be joining us. Connie is woke up nice and early, joining us from Australia this morning. What time is it there, Connie?
Good morning. It's 6 a.m. here, and we're pulling into New Caledonia, which is a part of the islands just north of Australia on the Celiac Cruise here. And it's going so great. Today's our first port stop, and I got up very early just to be with you today. So I'm excited about this webinar.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here bright and early. You're calling us, you're from the future. So it's
Yes.
Thursday where Connie is. So, but anyways, just a few housekeeping things. As you will see, we will be doing Q&A at the conclusion of the webinar. So if you have questions that pop up as you think of them throughout today, please just put them in the Q&A. Don't worry about waiting till the end, but just know that we will be, just so we stay on track, we'll be answering those at the conclusion of the webinar. But yes, and also we are recording this and we'll be sending this out to everyone and who is, on our email list who is traveling with us in a few weeks. So you will have a way to review it, or if you're watching us live and you think of questions after the fact, feel free to email us at info@celiaccruise.com for those questions that pop up in your mind later. So yeah, let's get started. Look at that
Yes.
ship. Oh my
I
goodness.
I know. I was just looking at her, and we've sailed on Symphony. This will be our third or fourth time. One of my favorite ships in the whole world. It's just so beautiful and so much to offer. I can't wait to share all the details. So today we're going to go through a lot of details about the check-in process, all the way through getting on the ship, what the ship offers, of course, the gluten-free food safety, and then, as Maureen said, the questions and answers at the end. So all of these things we'll be covering. I'll go first. The first slide we're going to talk about is Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Miami is where the ship will be, but Fort Lauderdale is really only 25 minutes away, so you can use either or airport. And sometimes Fort Lauderdale has different lower priced air. So if you haven't booked air yet and you're looking, be sure and check Fort Lauderdale as well. And it's easy to get an Uber transfer or yeah, transfer through Royal Caribbean as well. We sent a list of hotels already. There's parking right at the port. And Maureen, you want to talk about the gluten-free guide?
Sure. And like we've been to Miami many a times. It's a great, actually, there's some great gluten-free establishments near the port, even in the Fort Lauderdale area. If for, whatever reason you are staying there, we will be providing you guys in our final email a nice list of different options. And we do have one vendor that we love. It's a bakery called Dora's that actually is going to be providing extra hours for us just because she knows we are coming in town. And sometimes they give little specials for us. So just make sure if you show up at Dora's that you tell them that you're with the Celiac Cruise and they may do something special for you. So yes, she loves what we're doing. So it's a neat local little love that they give us. So look for that and know that it'll be updated and making sure all the things that are still open and hours are accurate as well.
Awesome. And speaking of open, check-in is
Yeah.
open now. So it will close 3 days before the cruise. So go ahead and do your online check-in now and pick a time, a boarding time. But whatever you pick, don't worry. Just come on whenever you get to the port. We suggest that you get there by about 11. But whatever your time is, just come on to the port. It doesn't matter. If your time is 2, don't wait till 2 because you'll miss your lunch. But just know that from 11:30 to 1:30, we'll have lunch in the main dining room, which is deck 5 in the back. And then we'll also have more of a quick service buffet in the Solarium Bistro, which is deck 15 forward. So one's on one end of the ship and one's on the other end of the ship. but the bistro goes all the way till 2. I think we just want to reiterate here again, no matter what time you pick, don't worry because they're not real strict about boarding times anymore. So when you get to the port, you can usually just walk right on. They have this whole check-in process down to a science, and you're usually on the ship within just a few minutes. So, that's the thing that we get the most questions on. Don't you agree, Maureen? Is that my time says 2:30, but I'm going to miss lunch. Don't worry, just come on.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it is something because, for the most part, when it says a time, you expect to be there. But it is one of those instances that we say, just come when it works with your schedule. Once they get the suites and, the early boarding taken care of for the most part, then, they're very flexible. And again, the Port of Miami is quite impressive. It can be a little overwhelming. So, I mean, we always like to kind of shoot people straight, as because think all of those people coming off the ship and all of those people coming on the ship. So, just exercise a little bit of extra patience that morning, knowing that you do have quite a bunch of people coming in and out. But once we get settled, everything calms down a bit. So.
Yeah, and once you arrive, if you don't print your luggage tags ahead of time, the porters can print them for you. They'll have extras that you just need to know your cabin number. But part of your online check-in is at the end of the check-in, you'll get your luggage tags, and those usually show up about a week before the cruise, in your app or on your when you log into royalcaribbean.com. So luggage tags, you can either print them at home or they'll have them at the port. Um, and like we said, we have both the main dining room and the bistro. And at the top right, you'll see that ticket. It says welcome aboard lunch ticket. Just show that on your phone to us, or if you want to print it out, you can. It'll just make getting into lunch faster for you. We will have a roster if you forget the ticket, but the ticket is just helps to move the line along so that you can get in quicker. The funnest part is that the cabins open about 1:30. So until then, you can go explore the ship, and it's a big ship and lots of things to do. So that'll give you some time to see the pools and see all the different areas. But about 1:30, they'll make an announcement, and then everybody will go to their cabin. The room key cards are right outside the door of everybody's cabin, and you can go right in and start enjoying unpacking and getting ready to settle in for the week. The most important part that we will remind you is that we will have a reception from 1:30 to 3 in the conference room, which is deck 3 forward. It says aft, but it's deck 3 forward. Sorry, I that's a typo there. And that's where you'll get all your goodies, your t-shirts and lanyards and wristbands and all their credentials will be at that Welcome Aboard Expo from 1 to 3 p.m. on deck 3.
And just to explain the lunch ticket a little bit more, so don't worry about, taking a picture of that there. That again will be in this final email that we will be sending you. And you can just one per party is fine. You don't have to have one for each of you. But this is for our safety because both of these venues are only allowed for our guests. So this is our job to make sure no one comes in there that should not be. So again, will be the only time we're going to have to ask you to show these tickets because following lunch, when you go to this expo, is when you're going to get the wristbands that we're going to have you wear for the duration of the cruise, which again will make sure that our guests are only in these venues. And that is obviously to keep this venue dedicated gluten-free. So it's for our safety. So we just ask that you wear those because it's to protect all of us. So the only time you'll need this lunch ticket is boarding day lunch in both venues. So yes.
Awesome. Well, here's the lunch hours again in case you wanted to see them. The difference between the main dining room and the solarium is the main dining room is more relaxed, I would think, because once you sit down, you really have some time to breathe and, relax, and they'll take your order. It's a nice lunch menu. And then the solarium is more of a quick service buffet. You grab what you want and then you're off to go explore the ship. So, depending upon whether you want to hit the ground running or whether you want to have a relaxed, more a sit down experience, that would be your choice, right? There's some other places, Maureen. Where else can we get food?
So there's going to be two other places boarding day that we would, kind of recommend. It's a place called Park Cafe. Now this will be a mixed use venue, and I say mixed use because all of our food still will be packaged in our dedicated gluten-free galley. Okay, so what will be, and this will happen for the duration of the cruise, and you'll have plenty of information on this. So again, don't feel like you have to frantically take notes on this, but what they have there is prepackaged sandwiches that you can grab if you just need to get something quick and haven't had any breakfast and just need something in your stomach immediately upon getting on that ship. Park Cafe is a good grab and go. But just to kind of reiterate the safety piece of this, our Deck 5 galley is where all of our food is prepared and packaged. So, in that dedicated space. So, all of it will be packaged in the containers and then they will be available to take from that venue without anyone having, touched them in between point A to point B. So while there will be gluten in the environment, you will have a prepackaged option that has not, in the container that is safe. So if that's something you're up for, grabbing something. And then the other thing is Sorrento's Pizza, which again will have gluten-free pizza through the duration of the cruise. So we'll talk about Sorrento's and how that is handled. We have a dedicated oven that is for us, not only just a dedicated oven, we also have a dedicated cooking preparation space, toppings, the cutting utensils, the works, and we do a deep, deep inspection, check, review again and again throughout the week to ensure that this continues to stay the way that it will. But what is important to know that even though that there is gluten containing pizza being served in separate ovens or being prepared in separate ovens, everything is pre-frozen. Everything's frozen. So there's no tossing of pizza dough. So there's no flour flying, anything like that. Even the gluten containing pizza is frozen and there's no flour actually in that environment. But our prep space is 6 feet from the gluten containing where that's being cut and the toppings as well. So that is an option. And again, like I said, there's a dedicated oven for gluten-free pizza, and you would just go up and request that you need a gluten-free pizza, and there will be someone managing just our pizza with, obviously not using gloves and things like that. So we will be reviewing that in depth with them the week before when we are on board doing all of our trainings as well. So just as an overview of the day, 1 to 3, the Welcome Aboard Expo. And then at 4 o'clock, we have a sail away party on deck 16 at the Mast Bar. Just look for us. We'll have our Celiac Cruise shirts on up there. So come, grab a cocktail or a mocktail as we sail away from the port of Miami. And then promptly at 5 p.m., dinner will begin. And then later that evening from 7 to 8, we have a kids, tween, teen meetup down in the conference center. Just kind of trying to get a chance for those kids to meet earlier on in the cruise, which many of our past guests have requested, just to give them a chance to get to know each other early on, because sometimes they don't meet until day 4. And then you wish you would have had that connection in the beginning. So we will be facilitating that. So don't worry. It's not like they're just going to be standing there looking at each other. So we'll be helping them through those events. And then we have an adult mix and mingle at 8:30 p.m. at a venue called Playmakers. We do keep that 21 and over, not because, everyone is drinking, but it is a kind of a bar and lounge. But even if you are not consuming alcohol, please come join us. It's just a great place for everybody to get a chance to say hi, introduce each other, and, just put a face with the name. So we hope you can join us. And then, because we're hungry again, I'm sure, 10 o'clock, it's time to eat one more time. And this is late night snacks. So if any of you have sailed with us before, you know about our legendary late night snacks that are only for our guests with our wristbands. So you will witness us in the beginning of the cruise doing some bouncing because everyone comes by the Windjammer and they're like, wow, this is normally not open. It's never open except for when we're on board at this time of night. And we have different themes that we'll be going through later in the slides here, but it is quite a treat. So make sure you come and join us if you're still up for it, but at least come and join us 1 or 2 nights through the week.
Yes.
Okay, so additional dietary restrictions. We are aware that many of you do have additional dietary restrictions. So we want to, our first most important thing is to keep everyone safe. So as we know, everything being served in these any of our venues is gluten-free, so you don't have to worry about the gluten. So you don't have to think about the gluten. But anything on top of the gluten, we are going to recommend that on your boarding day lunch, when you have the two options, to go to the main dining room because they have just a little bit more flexibility in terms of the preparation. Because while they can make things in the solarium, some of that is more already prepared immediately before, whereas they have a little bit more flexibility in the larger galley in the main dining room. But we're going to ask you to talk to your server in the main dining room. What's great is you will have the same team each night so that your waiter, your server who's going to serve you at dinner will be your waiter the next night. So they will start to know what you need. We can, alternatives to recipes and things like that can be made, but they need to know in advance. So a lot of times, they can make dairy-free alternatives to certain things, but they just need to kind of prepare them in advance. So we ask that you talk to the servers. And of course, we have the most wonderful culinary team on board. Very excited that our executive chef has been with us many, many times before. So we're personally very thrilled. He's amazing. He knows Celiac Cruise well, and he's done an incredible job. And he is so happy to help any way he can. So there's many of them, but the executive chef is especially awesome. So they'll be happy to help too.
Yes. So this is the onboard dining guide on the right, but this is just a sample, right? So the real dining guide is going to come in that last email that we've been talking about. And it'll have all the details. You'll see the regular bistro hours, the main dining room hours, the Windjammer Cafe hours, which are all dedicated. And then the other shared venues there on the right, you'll see where we have additional places that you can get ice cream cones and you can get sandwiches like we talked about, where you can get pizza. So you'll get this and it'll be updated for our particular cruise and sent to you in that last email. The one thing that Maureen touched on the left there where it says onboard dining, dinner is 5 p.m. prompt. So there will be a line to get in. It'll start about 4:45. Just our guests. Your dining room table number is on your room key card, and they will seat you the first night. So it'll take a few minutes to get through the door because we'll be checking everybody to make sure that everybody is part of our group. And then it'll take a couple of minutes to get seated and then for them to ask you about additional dietary restrictions. So every night is 5 p.m. prompt, which we know is early, but that gives you more time to digest dinner so that you can come back and enjoy the fourth meal, which is the late night snacks. So lots of food everywhere. I don't think anybody will be hungry. Do you?
So we can just kind of go, some of you have said this is your first cruise. So we want to make sure we can do what we can to help you kind of understand what is included, what is free, what you need to get drink packages for, et cetera, et cetera. So what is included is what you see there. So iced tea, ice water, regular and decaf coffee, juice, and milk. That is complimentary, no charge, even chocolate milk at dinner. There's no charge there. But what is not included is again what you see there: the bottled waters, the specialty coffees. There is a Starbucks on board, which is actually branded Starbucks. So that's a little bit different from some of you who have the coffee cards and things like that. So it does operate just as a Starbucks. Sodas, alcohol, and then there's smoothies and milkshakes. So there is a Vitality Cafe, I think it's called, which is associated with the spa and the gym. It's lovely. And of course, we will be checking all of those ingredients before anyone starts to wonder, wait, are we sure the smoothies are okay and things like that. We will confirm that. And we'll go through this, but of course, you all will know if there are things that we cannot have. At this point, we have sailed 30, this will be 33, our 33rd cruise, but we treat it
Yes.
like it's our first one every single time. So every label is read, every detail's reviewed. So just know that going into it. But, prior to this, what has been a no for all of us is the regular beer and a twisted tea. It's called twisted tea, which is a malt beverage that they serve on board. You will see there that is our specialty beer, just created just for Celiac Cruise from Holidaily Brewing Company from Golden, Colorado. They will send some other beer, but that is our lovely sea day that we'll get into and tell you the story about and how that came to be. But it's a vacation like lager. So we hope you get a chance to try it if that is your thing. But yes, it's a special thing that Holidaily created just for Celiac Cruise for us to drink on our cruises. So,
And we might have a few samples of that
oh
when you board
yes.
for those 21 and over. We'll be offering free samples of the beer when you get on board the ship, just so you can try it, because many of you have not tried the Sea Day Lager, and I think you're going to love it if you. It's a great beer, and it's all gluten-free ingredients, so it's not gluten removed. It's 100% gluten-free, so it's really incredible. Here's just a list of a few things that, I mean, there's more. There's lots more, but there's so many things to do on the sea days. And when we're in port, even that you could never be bored. I mean, this is just a photo of the Flow Rider, which is where you go surfing on a ship in the middle of the ocean. They have different times where you do lay down surfing. Then when you get really good, you can go to knee board surfing where you're kind of up on your knees. And then when you get really good, you can stand up. So I obviously am not a surfer, but I love to go back there and watch them. So even if you don't participate in the flow rider, it's fun to watch. And right behind them, you can see that little lighthouse and the palm trees. That's an 18-hole mini golf course right there. There's also basketball courts, and there's a the flow rider, there's the rock climbing walls. You do need to have socks to do the rock climbing walls. And then there's an ice skating rink, so you need to bring pants in case you want to go ice skating, and socks, because they do require jeans or some kind of pants to ice skate. There's a zip line over the boardwalk area. All of these things are free. You don't have to pay for anything that we're talking about here. There's an escape room. That the escape room does have a charge. It's a separate event. But the rock climbing wall, ice skating, there's big shows like Broadway type shows, big theater shows. There's an aqua theater show in the back that is like high diving and synchronized swimming. The thing is that you can reserve your spot for these shows early, or you can just reserve them when you get on board, or you can just show up as a standby. You want to talk about that?
Yes, a lot of times, obviously, I know I've been reading in some of the groups too that, you go and the tickets aren't available and things like that. And I am not one to sign up early for most things in my life. So, at times you're a little panicked, rightfully so, when it goes and you're during vacation and all of a sudden it says no tickets are available. I have yet to not be able to see a show, and that is with my party of five and or six. So just know that, yes, sometimes the first night that something is being shown, specifically the Aqua Theater show, which is very, very popular. It's amazing, rightfully so. It might be tricky to get in the first night, but they show that 2 to 3 times, if not 4 times, throughout the week. So just know that, yes, I wouldn't probably think that you're going to get that seat the first night, but know that you will, later on. So like Connie said, just go 15 minutes beforehand and wait, and then usually they let people who without tickets come in at that point. And
They
these,
also
venues are huge. So,
Yeah, they also hold back some tickets so that when you board, you can get tickets once you get on board. So that's a little secret trick. And we're going to have lots of Celiac Cruise activities as well. So these will not be in the app. The Royal Caribbean's app has everything that goes on every hour, but our events are not in the app because they're private. They're just for us. So we'll have a board where we write all the events every day and we ask you to make a photo of that board so that you can keep track of what we're doing that day. And a lot of what we do is going to be like fundraisers for our food insecurity program, but there's a lot of fun things that we're going to be offering for free as well. All right, Maureen, this is all you.
of course. So we've alluded to some of this already, but as I said, this will be cruise number 33. And it is cruise number 33 without incident. And I think that speaks volumes to our safety protocols and what we do. I think it's important for you all to know that Celiac Cruise became to be because of my family. Two of the five of us have celiac. I have Hashimoto's. It's personal. This is not just something we do to do. It's because of the challenges that every single one of you probably on this call have faced. So it's personal. And I treat this like you all are my very own family. So we have the Celiac Disease Foundation joining us the week before as well on board on our site inspection and our training cruise. So what happens in that week? We train any single person involved in food and beverage, inclusive of the bartenders, every server, the maitre d's, the assistant maitre d's, the galley team, the dishwashers,
Yeah.
the those who are doing the ice cream cones upstairs to ensure that they're changing their gloves so everyone can have a gluten-free ice cream cone and not have to worry about cross contact. Every single detail that runs through our minds every single day has been thought about. The Sorrento's precautions, like we talked about before, the Park Cafe, every single venue that is involved with anything that is Celiac Cruise will have a thorough, detailed training once and a review again before people board. We will go through the galley. We go down to the very bottom of the ship. We check every single thing that has come in and that will be going into our galley. All of that food will be prepared in the galley, even the food being prepared. So that's our dedicated space, right? So even the late night snacks, the majority that food is prepped in that dedicated space and transported through, back elevators to the level of care also that Royal Caribbean has taken just to ensure the safety of all of us. Also, I mean, they take it so incredibly serious. And that is another reason we are entering the cruise number 33. So yes, I mean, you have questions about the process. I'd love to talk about it because as you can see, I'm proud. And it's a really, really neat experience also to think that at any given time, we're training probably 1,600 people about celiac disease before you board. And I hope that that is trickling down. You think with all of these different cruises, all the different ships we've trained, I think, some of them are taking this information with them, a little piece of it, and understanding that is not a choice. We are here because we have to be, but just a little bit more understanding of the cautions and what needs to happen to ensure safety. So.
So we do several onboard philanthropic events. Some of them are a fundraiser for Celiac Disease Foundation's Food Insecurity Program. So when Maureen and I first started this, we decided we wanted to give back. So we got with the Celiac Disease Foundation, and the money that we raise from our private events goes to feed families that can't afford gluten-free foods. So when you come to the Taste of Royal on day 3, which is an elevated 5-course, amazing, beautiful, fantastic, upscale lunch in a private restaurant, and you pay $75 for lunch, that's going to feed a family for a month through food insecurity program. So it's not everything that we do on these special events is for a purpose. So we're going to have some new events this time. Of course, we have the Taste of Royal, which is always sells out. So if you want Taste of Royal, you need to grab that soon. The Holiday Beer Flight tasting and karaoke party. If you want to have some fun, even if you're not a drinker, the karaoke party part of it is really fun. And here again, it's a fundraiser. So those tickets typically sell out as well. We have the Howie Memorial Miniature Golf Tournament, which is so much fun. Howie was one of our favorite. He just loved a mini golf and he loved everything about Celiac Cruise. And so we named the golf tournament the little mini golf tournament for him. But we've never done private surfing under the stars. So we're going to have a few slots for people. I think if you're like me and you don't surf, that would be a good time to go cheer on your fellow celiac cruisers. But all of these have very limited spots, and as soon as you can, go ahead and register and pay for those events. They're all registered through the Celiac Disease Foundation because, like I said, this is a fundraiser and the money goes to them.
And also in the beginning, I remember when we were navigating just kind of the starts of celiac, and I remember going online and the social media things that obviously there's some wonderful things that have come from social media, and but then there's some also some things that really scared the daylights out of me and what was coming and what you know my life was going to look like at that point moving forward. So we started, very early realizing that it would be really cool if we incorporated some true education into Celiac Cruise. And that is why every cruise we bring some pretty important, the people who are doing the research, the people who are, making the legislation up on Capitol Hill. It's these two are behind a lot of what you're reading about if you're reading on celiac. So they will be doing our keynote presentation, as you can see, Smarter Than Gluten, How Science Standards and AI Are Changing Life with Celiac Disease. Day 2, which will be a Monday for us. So that's the 16th from 9 to 11 a.m. in Studio B. So we encourage you all to come. I mean, again, this is your vacation. You can choose to spend it how you wish, but just know that that is available. And then at the end, we'll be doing a Q&A. So feel free to join us if it works with your schedule.
And as people have asked in the past, this is not recorded, this session, this keynote. And most people, if they miss it, they wish they had come. So I know it's 9 to 11 on a C day, but come have breakfast and then pop in there. You'll be glad you did. All right, Cruising 101. I'll take this a little bit. The first thing is be patient because on the first day, everybody is walking around trying to find everything, right? Um, the elevators, Maureen, you want to talk about the elevators?
What part about the elevators? They're
The first day.
busy. They're busy. I mean, no one knows where they're going, right? And also you have to think about people can't get in their cabins till 1:30. So at that point in the time before 1:30, 100% of all of those people on that ship are outside their cabins. So 1:30 on for the rest of that week, you'll always have a certain percentage of people who are in their cabins, which will significantly decrease just the elevator chaos, the people. So I just think it's easier to be like transparent, and that is, yeah, the elevators can be busy. So if you're only going up a few floors, but they eventually come. There's lots of elevators too. So.
Yes. It's really not as bad as we make it. I think we try to talk about how bad it is so that, you're expecting it, but then it's really not that bad. And like she said, as soon as people start going into their cabins, it starts to really get better. Drink package. The Holiday beer is part of the drink packages for the alcohol package, or you can just buy it at the bar. The drink package is usually about $70 to $80 per person per day. You buy it through Royal Caribbean as part of your online check-in cruise planner. And then if you get the drink package, then you don't have a bill at the end of the cruise for your alcohol or sodas or bottled water. But Holiday is part of the package. So if you want to get the package, the break even point is usually about 8 drinks for the day. So that includes bottled waters and specialty coffees and sodas and all that too. So some people don't like the package, but some people really do. So we just wanted to cover that. Dining package and the key, we don't suggest either one of them. So the key is a special program where you get on board and they serve you a fancy lunch in a sit down area. Well, guess what? You get a fancy lunch in a sit down area already because you're part of the Celiac Cruise. So you don't need to purchase the key. The key also gives you like priority access to some of the shows. But like we've said, if you get on board and you don't have show times, you can usually get those right away too. And the dining packages are for specialty restaurants, which are not dedicated gluten-free. So if you do go to any of the specialty restaurants on board, just know that they have been trained by Royal Caribbean with their standard protocols, but they are not a dedicated gluten-free environment. We've talked about the sold out shows. We'll talk a little bit about motion sickness, and then I'll let Maureen talk about the ports of call. But this ship is so big, and usually in February, the seas are really calm. But if you are concerned, you might talk to your doctor about a scopolamine patch that goes behind your ear. It's a prescription, or they do have seasick medicine at the front desk on the ship. Rarely are there any winds at all in February. But we even check the seasick medicine at the front desk to make sure that it's gluten-free. There's also the wristbands and things, but this ship is huge. And like I said, the water's typically very, very calm. So don't psych yourself up into thinking you're going to get seasick because it's very unlikely that you would.
So the ports of call, obviously we do this because we need to as well. Many a times there are certain ports of call that we have received permission to be able to have food brought off, to go lunches and such. These ports of call are not ports of call we've received permission to do that at. I think it's important for you all to know that anytime we say no to any questions, it's not because we ever want to, it's because it's a safety concern or, we were told no by the Port Authority, not because we haven't asked and tried to explain our situations and all of those things. So, many of you, just like me, I'm sure, have many bars at the bottom of your bags. Some of now are smushed, but they're always in the bottom of my bag. So thinking through bringing pre-packaged things like that, we will provide you some at check-in. So I think what we also encourage you to do is kind of think through with your excursion if you are, you know, eating a little bit later on that side, and then obviously having the earlier dinner, it does help because you come back on board and it's time to eat again. So yeah, I mean, I think jerky, bars, things like that. Have we had guests? This part is not being recorded, unrecorded. Have have we had guests who have brought off some of these sandwiches that have been prepackaged? We have. Have they gotten in trouble? They haven't. But again, we would hate for you all to be the people that happened to. So we don't want to have to, so it's there's a little bit of risk. I mean, there is a little bit of risk. I don't think that they're going to put you in the St. Thomas jail because you have a sandwich. But at the same time, we wouldn't want you to be fined or things like that. So I think you have to weigh what you're comfortable with, risk reward here, and kind of plan from there. How's that?
That's perfect. Eat a big breakfast, go enjoy your excursion, and then come back and eat a big dinner. So here's more continued 101. You can see all the slides and kids show, all the clubs. The kids clubs are cool. So they're broken out into age brackets, and you register your children for those kids clubs, which, by the way, we train about celiac disease, and they're expecting your children to come to the program. They do fun science experiences, and they do. Lots of activities, and they'll give you a schedule of what they're doing all week, which is great. Of course, the rock climbing wall, we mentioned socks, ice skating, we mentioned pants and socks, flow rider. You don't need socks, but flow rider is where you're in your bathing suit. All the shows, all the comedy, everything there is included. Some things have to have a registration, some things don't. Spa treatments are not included. Wi-Fi is not included. Specialty restaurants are not included. Here again, we don't recommend them anyway. Laser tag and souvenirs, all those are not included. Wi-Fi, you can purchase a package as part of your online check-in, which is the cruise planner part. If you want to stay connected, you can get one or two or three devices, 4 or 5 devices, and share them. You can get one device and share it. It's pretty easy for one to log on and one to log off. There is a Royal Caribbean app that they'll suggest that you download before you get on the ship. And if you connect to the internet through their app, you can actually chat through their app for free. So you don't have to have internet to be able to use their app or to chat within the app feature. And for those of you with iOS, with Apple phones, you can actually connect to their Wi-Fi for free and chat. You just use text through your iOS message. For some reason, it still goes through, which is great. So there's 2 ways to connect to their internet. You can pay or you can connect for free. If you connect for free, then you use their app and you can chat through the app or chat through Messenger through iOS if you have an Apple phone. The other way is you pay for internet and then you have access to all your regular internet. You put your phone, either way, you put your phone on airplane mode and you connect to their Wi-Fi. And when you connect to their Wi-Fi, if you pay, then you can do email and Facebook and social media and make Wi-Fi calls and send text to even if you're not an Apple user. So if you buy the internet, it's usually about $20 a day, and it's unlimited. So it's not like it's just a bank of minutes. You get as much as you want. And I'm on the internet now here in Tahiti or wherever I am. And so it just shows you how good it is, right? So I'm doing a Zoom call, in the middle of the ocean in the South Pacific, just north of Australia. And so that's how good it is. So if you need to do work or something, you certainly can. Wow, these are great themes. For Stars and Stripes late night bites, it's pretty cool because it's think of American. So hamburgers, hot dogs, macaroni and cheese, that sort of thing. Asian treats, think of like, sweet and sour stuff, sweet and sour chicken, that sort of thing. Viva Mexico. We had that last night here, and Viva Mexico, sometimes they're able to do a little surprise. Did I say churros? But churros are one of our favorites. It's one of the things that people look forward to, and it's amazing. So you can see around the world, donuts and delights. How bad can that be, right? Crepes, who loves crepes? And then tropical night bites. So every night there's a theme night to our 10 o'clock fourth meal. And this is always in the Windjammer buffet, which closes at 9. They do a deep clean, and then here we come in at 10, wristband only. People try to get in this all the time, and we have to turn them away. We have to have 2 people stand the door for this because people try to come in because they're hungry and they don't get to, and we do. So if you can stay up, it's definitely worth coming to late night.
So this I will put like a big asterisk on. I'm sure some of you are in some of the Facebook groups, but this is where I got that from because it is not yet posted in our actual app. As the cruise gets closer, you will have the dress code on each day. They do mention what it is when they populate the system of all of the exact events through the day. They will post what the dress of the evening is. But this is kind of usually what it is. You know, it may change like day 4 is white attire as opposed to day 3. But I think if you want to participate in the dress themes, this is a good general packing list. You don't have to. Don't feel like you have to. I mean, this is your vacation. You can choose to wear what you choose. No bathing suits, no halter top. What's and flip-flops. I mean, I think no flip-flops are okay, right? I think it's just no bathing suits and towels, really, right? And
Yes.
shorts. Do they allow shorts in the dining room?
Yes, they do. On
Yes.
casual night, you'll see it's really gotten a lot more casual than it has been. Now, on formal night or dress your best, they call it, you will see a lot of people putting on like a sundress or a fancy dress or even a jacket. Some men wear coats still. So if you want to get that beautiful holiday photo card, that's a great way because there's photographers all around the ship making complimentary pictures for you to look at, and then you pick the ones you want to buy. So you don't have to pay to get your picture made, but if you like it, you can purchase a picture or even a digital copy of the picture. So you'll see on the dress your best night, people do sometimes like to dress up. So that's kind of a fun night to pull out the fancy stuff. But you know, Caribbean night is really cool. But casual can be even shorts. So it's your vacation, and I think that's good because then you can wear whatever you want. But there are some parties too, like a country roundup party, an 80s party. Sometimes there's a 70s dance party, Latin fiesta party. So
Yeah,
those will
this is
all be
what
in
was
there.
posted.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what they call it's like the promenade party theme. So, you know, and that's kind of what's happening here. Usually it's in the evening, a little late for me. 11 o'clock, I think, is normally when it happens. They may do an earlier one in the 9 o'clock hour, but it's, you know, people are dressed in this theme. So again, choose your own adventure. But this is what I was able to dig up. But if something changed, don't be mad at me. But this is what I found.
Here's the onboard guides again. You don't have to make photos. We're going to send you all of these in that last email.
This is just a general idea of all of the information that will be coming your way, you know, in addition to the lunch ticket, but you'll have a, you know, a daily guide of what is happening, hours, you know, so you have that, you know, at your fingertips. And then the bottom one there, the one under the ice cream, that's like a play-by-play of all of our events during the day. So, you know, the teen events, the kids events, the adult hangouts. We do coffee and conversations for 18 plus that we'll do 2 times, I believe, in the morning hours, which is just a great kind of opportunity for us to talk, share the good, the bad, the ugly, but mainly the good. It always ends up, you know, coming back around. But there's this one thing that connects us all, whether it's your life, your, you know, loved one, a parent, living with this. So there's just a lot that we've all gained from each other. So we like to find that time for people to connect in that time frame.
So you'll get all of these in your email. All right. See, there's lots of questions.
Yes. All right. So let's see here. My online check-in was not allowing me to input my phone number no matter how many times and formats I tried. Any thoughts, Connie?
Um,
I'm trying to
I
think that the critical part about the phone. Um, I mean, obviously they want a phone number. for purposes, but I think isn't it for push notifications that they're really the purpose of the phone number?
Yeah, I've never had any problem at all with that. The Nancy, go ahead and email us and we'll try to walk you through that or try to find out. I do know you need the area code, but I've never had any problem at all. So I'm sorry about that. Just email us and we'll try to walk you through.
Boarding day lunch is main dining room, deck five, and solarium bistro dedicated gluten-free, or do we need to specify? Yes, you do not need to specify. They're both dedicated gluten-free. You will walk in and the main dining room obviously be handed. It's a shorter menu than what you'll see at dinner, but it's a menu, and the solarium bistro again is dedicated. You're only getting in there if you have a lunch ticket or are on our list. So again, don't panic if you don't get, you can probably, we'll post it in the Facebook group too. So that's like a last quick, just remember we're saying that now that obviously you won't be in the Facebook group unless you're a part of this group. So you can always go in there and show it to us from there. But um, do you have any good Valentine's Day restaurant recommendations for us to book? Looking to get a reservation before they fill up. Um, Andrew, email me at info@celiaccruise.com. I do have one place, that place that Naomi took us to, and I'm blanking on the name of it. And like 98% of the entire restaurant is naturally gluten-free. They use corn as long as corn is okay. But it's delicious and it's on the water. It's beautiful. So info@celiaccruise.com. Shoot me an email and I will get that information to you. Where do we get the lunch ticket? So that will be emailed to you in that final email that we spoke of. We have never
What are
cruised before.
luggage tags? Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
What are the luggage tags for?
So the luggage tags are so that your bags get to your cabin. So when you get to the ship, you're going to hand your luggage over to the porters and then it's going to magically appear outside your cabin door. So when you get to the pier, you're going to unload everything and give it right to the guys at the port. So you either need to have a luggage tag on there or they'll put one on there so they know which room to bring it to.
Yes. And don't panic, even if your neighbors all seem to have their luggage and your luggage isn't there yet, it's coming. It's sometimes there's no rhyme or reason why, one of my bags, they all were dropped off together, but two of my bags came and then one bag didn't come until 4 o'clock. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but are we able to take the pre-made sandwiches from Park Cafe on excursions or on or off the boat? I think I answered that. I'll only say,
Yeah, legally, ethically, morally, no. But but
um,
yes.
okay. Can you sit with friends who are also on the Celiac Cruise?
So if you told us that you are traveling with friends or you told us that you wanted to sit with somebody, then we already sent that to the ship and it's been cross-referenced and you will be sitting with them. If for some reason you didn't tell us, or let's say you meet new friends and you want to sit with them, you can always sit with them for breakfast or lunch or even late night snack. So it would just be the dinner that's already assigned by Royal Caribbean and that'll be on your room key card.
Okay. Can we bring our own Yetis?
You can, they just have to be empty. So even of water, you have to bring them empty. And then once you get on board, you can fill them.
What
Here's
I
one.
do, just to,
Yeah,
keep just in the interest of keeping everyone healthy. What I will do is not very dishwasher for those people doing that, but I'll go over to the water station. They have individual tumblers. I'll fill up 2 or 3 individual tumblers. So I'm actually getting 3 cups, pouring one in my water bottle, pouring a second one in my water bottle, and then, however much to fill it up. That way, I'm not putting my water bottle under there, which is really what they do not want you doing to keep us all healthy. But that way I'm able to access that same water that is distilled, filtered, and completely safe without having to pay for it. So, um, Connie, it sounds you do this one.
Sounds like usual beverages, chocolate milk, white milk, almond milk, lemonade are all celiac safe. We will confirm that. So, a part of our week before getting ready for you to board, we check everything, all the mixers, all the ingredients, all the juices, all the milk, everything. So, if there's something that's not safe, then we let you know. On this particular cruise, there'll be lots of options. So, we'll check them all.
Yes. Is there an ice
Um,
skating show?
Yeah, and Nancy, that there is an ice skating show, and it's several times during the sailing, and it'll show up in the app. You don't have to worry about that, and it's beautiful. It's professional skaters who sometimes went to the Olympics, and they do shows in the middle of the ocean on an ice skating rink, floating. It's really incredible.
My son has a wheat allergy, so needs to be gluten-free. Is there anything that would be considered not safe for him, but is gluten-free? So I'm sure this is in reference to the gluten-free wheat starch. The only product that we have ever had on our ships that contained that from Char was the croissants. Those are not on this ship, is my understanding. So, other than that, there is nothing. So, I will obviously confirm that just to let you know for sure. But we usually, because we have a lot of guests who additionally have or have wheat allergies, we really do try and stay away from that. But yeah, historically, the only product we've ever had, and I think that's the only product that Char makes anymore that has that wheat starch, gluten-free wheat starch, it has been the croissants, and I do not believe they're on board.
But
Um,
here again, if you have additional allergies or dietary restrictions, you need to talk to your server or talk to some, if you go to the buffet, ask for a chef because he or she is the one that makes the food, not us.
How do we register for those events? There will be two emails that you are going to receive. One with all of this information we keep talking about, and then there will be another email that is dedicated specifically to those events. We try and separate them so you're not getting, one email is logistics of what you need to focus on your cruise, and then the other will be the events that we will be having on board. So those will be coming, I would say, in the next 4 to 5 days.
And if you're talking about events on the ship, like the shows, you do those through the app, like the theater shows
Oh,
and
yeah.
that sort of thing.
Is there a celiac safe setup at Coco Cay, or would we be allowed to take food with us that day? So sad to report, we're not going to Coco Cay on this cruise, and I even got confused on that a few months back. But in case you are referencing Nassau, the new private setup that Royal Caribbean has in Nassau. It's a little bit different the way that for those of you who have sailed with us when we've gone to Coco Cay or will sail with us when we go to Coco Cay, that is a free option for every single passenger on that cruise ship. So everybody gets off the ship. It's a port of call, like we're going to St. Thomas. Everybody gets off the ship. When we are at Coco Cay, we do have a dedicated celiac gluten-free celiac cruise area. But because the Nassau Beach Club is a ticketed item, so you're paying a ticket to get there. We have no idea what percentage of our guests are actually even going. We have done some research. Again, we will be there the week before, and we'll report back. This place just opened 3, 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm going to say until we know and can report back, I'm not going to tell you to eat there because I know it's not dedicated. So if you do not eat in non-dedicated places, I think I just have double negative, but you know what I'm trying to say. We'll confirm and we'll report back. I know there are gluten-free options there. We have been in touch with the food and beverage team on the island. I know they have shrimp and things like that. But I know it's prepared in a shared environment. But we'll let you know what we find when we're there the week before.
The next question is talking about the keynote presentation and whether it's suitable for kids.
I mean, I guess I would ask what age. It is very much suitable. I don't think they will be talking about what you're referencing. I don't think it's going to be scary about the future and things like that. I think about my kids. I don't know if it would necessarily hold their attention for the entire duration, but I don't think that there's any information that will be presented that would not be appropriate for a child. I don't know if it's going to be, I mean, it's a slideshow. I mean, it's very interesting and very interactive, and there'll be a lot of really cool things that you'll learn. I don't know how old your child is, so I don't know if it's going to necessarily hold their attention, but there's nothing inappropriate or that would cause fear that I think will be presented.
What time is late night?
10 o'clock.
10 to 11, and you come anytime between 10 and 11. It's
Yes.
not like prompt like dinner is exactly at 5.
Yes. For kids in the main dining room at night, can we order things like pizza? There will be a kids menu. Yes. And what's really, really awesome is we have the regular Royal Caribbean kids menu and they just make it all gluten-free. So, it's just, again, talk about just having a normal experience. And that's what this is. So we will have every option that's on the kids menu is available for us. Um, we usually go to the sail away party for the line dancing. Is ours at the same time? If so, what activities will be? Yeah, it's all at the same time. Ours is more like a hangout. Meet someone with a wristband or a lanyard on and say hi. There's not actual like organized activities. So I wouldn't see an issue that you can't do both, to be honest with you. Don't miss the line dancing. If you normally do that, that's fun.
That is a lot of fun. Yes. How many people are on the Celiac Cruise this time?
We have about 675 guests and 100% full.
Yeah.
So, with a long wait list. So, you all are very lucky. Will phones work
Okay.
off the ship?
The phones in St. Thomas, it's America. So when you get off the ship, you're in America and you can just turn your phone on and it's just like you are in America. Your phones work on the ship if you connect to the Wi-Fi. As soon as you board the ship, you want to put your phone on airplane mode to avoid any international roaming charges. But you can check with your carrier. I have T-Mobile, and so my phones work all over the world. I get free data and free texts. But you might have a different plan where you have to, pay for if you're on an island. But just check with your carrier. But they do work. It just might cost.
Where do we sign up for the Taste of Royal? So that will be in that email that we send. That is event specific. And yes, that's when that will, and we'll also post it in the Facebook group as well.
What's the weather typically like? I mentioned before, it's usually beautiful. So it's going to be,
Heavenly.
yes, it's going to be South Florida in, the spring. So it's going to be shorts typically. You might bring a jacket for, a light jacket for at night, like just a sweater jacket. It's definitely not going to be an ice storm or a snowstorm.
Taste of Royal fundraiser events. So how do we book? So I think and again, if you have additional questions, info@celiaccruise.com. Will there be safe gluten-free options at the Royal Beach Club? Think we covered that. If you're late to dinner because of an excursion. I mean, I think you let us know what time you're going to be. They will cut off seating at a certain time. There's some flexibility, but we do really encourage people to be on time because if you think this is a three-course, dinner, so it's all flow and things like that. So that's why it's really important that we are because you're slowing down service if other people at your table haven't had appetizers and things like that. So um, and remember there are other options. If for some reason, you're just like, this is too much, I don't want to rush to dinner. That's when, the pizza situation, the park cafe. There's also a place called the Doghouse on the boardwalk and things like that. So there are other options if you just kind of want to hold yourself over to our fourth meal at 10 o'clock. Um, at the last stop. And when there's not snacks, the word snacks is kind of ridiculous because it's not a snack. It's a full-on meal again. And there's healthy things there too. So don't only think you're going in just for fried food. There's salads and things like that too, if that is your thing too. At the last
I'll
stop,
take
what
this
beach
one.
options?
Yeah, so the last stop at Nassau, you can just get off and walk around. They have a new port area. You can also do excursions that go to like Atlantis. There's a lot you can do options that cost, and you can just get off and go to the straw market and walk around. All that's free.
Is there lactose-free milk, yogurt, or cheese available? I know for sure there's lactose-free milk. I did also answer a question previously about dairy-free cheese. We obviously always request it, and many times these things are there. We have had a few cruises that we had a supply issue, and certain things did not, like the dairy-free cheese. But I do believe lactose-free milk and yogurt, I believe, are available regularly, but the dairy-free cheese is a special order for us. Um, should we exchange money before going on excursions?
No, everybody loves American dollars, so you don't need to exchange any money at all.
Is there a Celiac Cruise app or just the Facebook group? Not yet. Just the Facebook group for now, yes. But we put signage, in the bistro and then walking into the main dining room just to kind of remind you of the things that are happening. We do, like I said, encourage you to print out that schedule when you're at home or do a screenshot on your phone, so you have it accessible, so have what is happening each day right in front of you. Grab and go with the food. So, room service didn't come up, but it's probably good to kind of cover that right now. Um, just to another statement to the dedication of what Royal Caribbean does. They reroute their room service operation for us. It's moved down to deck 3, which is just again to keep us safe, to keep it away from our food. We don't know what happens where it goes with room service. Yes, you'll see there's a gluten-free toast option. We cannot guarantee anything from where that came from, what's happening. Just know room service is not coming from the deck 5 galley. So what we recommend and what I've done at times is you go into that solarium, you pick up what you want for breakfast and cover it up and take it back to your cabin and then have your room service breakfast that way. And it's also going to taste a lot better because it's just a lot better options too. Um, so excited. Thank you. What options are available for a 10-year-old to mingle? I heard of a drop-off area, but that scares me a bit. So there's the kids clubs are wonderful, especially on this ship. This is why we're doing the first night hangout. So maybe they can meet a familiar face and then later can unite with someone maybe in these kids clubs. But we also, as Connie mentioned, we train the kids clubs. We train, from the infants all the way up to the teenagers. And they are told, when they see two kids with a wristband on, to kind of try and pull them together, connect them, because, they're all in the same group with us. So they're really, really wonderful people. And they do have on day one, you can go in and kind of look around. If that's something just to kind of familiarize yourself, that's what I've done with my kids. But it's a great ship for kids. There's so much to do. So, but we'll have events, and then there are the kids clubs. But I will tell you, they're pretty amazing. So,
The next one, how many suitcases are allowed? Well, as many as you want to bring. Now, obviously, on the airplane, if you're flying, you have to pay for bags. So you would probably want to check into the baggage requirement on an airplane. But for driving to the ship, you can have as many as you want. The cabins are not, ultra huge because most everything you do on the ship is out of the cabin, not in the cabin. But we usually bring a couple of suitcases each, and we put one inside the other and stick it under our bed after we get done unpacking. Tell us about tipping in general. So, in general, tipping is prepaid because it's part of our contract now that we have to prepay for gratuities. Every person has to prepay for gratuities as part of being part of the Celiac Cruise. And so, your general tips are already going to be paid to the people on board the ship. You will find that these people go above and beyond, and you're going to want to tip extra. So if you want to hand somebody like your server an extra tip, you can do it on the last night as a thank you for all they've done, or maybe you're a cabin steward, or maybe if you go to the same bar all the time and some bartender does a really great job for you, slip them a 5 or a 20 or something. They appreciate extra tips because that's what they live off of. But tipping in general, your main tips are all prepaid as part of the Celiac Cruise.
One of your fellow gluten-free passengers is recommending a 100% gluten-free sushi place that is amazing. I remember gluten-free Dave telling us about it too, called Nami Nori. So it's supposed to be unreal. So if sushi is your thing, that might be a good place for Valentine's Day. So thank you, Debbie. Um, how long does it take for the laundry to be returned?
Usually it's 3 days, but I just had some done here on board the ship and it came back the next day. So sometimes they surprise you. You can pay double and express your laundry. So laundry there is a fee for to have laundry done. But if you want to click express, then they just charge you double and you get it back the next day.
I'm on the Celiac Disease Foundation website. Any tips on how to find the cruise events? Yes, so those, it won't be there. It'll be strictly through us, a link that the Celiac Disease Foundation is creating for us that we will send you. Um, for the planners, what time is dinner usually over? 6:45, 6:30, 6:45, usually. This will be my family's fourth celiac cruise on board this vessel. It is and has been our favorite and safest vacation option, and your train crew is phenomenal. My wife and son have celiac, and this trip is so well designed and thorough. Safety is the finest and highest priority. Thank you so much. Paul, thank you very much, and thank you for coming back. Um, I appreciate that because I know like trusting is hard. So I guess maybe those of you, your first trip with us, listen to Paul but know that we understand that trusting is hard. So, but you are in good hands, and you can focus on vacation for once as opposed to all the things that normally go through our minds. Um, are late night snacks also able to be adjusted for other allergies? They do their best to accommodate, what they are able to. Certain things cannot be created dairy free. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. There are certain things, but they do always have options for those who have additional dietary restrictions. But here again, we're going to ask you to check in with our favorite chef because he's always up there and is so willing to help in any way they can.
Our group is 8. Will there be dinner tables that big? Yes, they do have tables that hold 8, but it could be that you'll be split up. Royal Caribbean, we send them the cross-referenced, families, and then they seat everyone. So there's a good chance that you'll be either at one table or split up between two.
El Loco Fresh, great question, asking if there's safe options. Historically, the corn tortillas as well as the chips, again, we will confirm, have been gluten-free, but it is in a shared environment with flour tortillas everywhere. So, we ask you to exercise caution, but there are in items that aren't gluten-free on their own there. Is there soy milk available? Yes. Do
Do
we
we
take our
take passports
passport?
every time you get off the ship? No. You do need a photo ID when you get off the ship, but typically that's your license. The cabins all have a safe, so you can put your passport away as soon as you get on board the ship. Just don't forget it when you get ready to go home.
She
Wow
laughs.
bands. Yeah, so WOW bands are it's a band that you buy and it says it's a Royal Caribbean wristband. And I have one right here. And you can buy those from Royal Caribbean and they will activate them so you get in and out of your cabin and you can buy drinks and things with it. The problem is you can't use it to get on and off the ship. So you'll still need your room key card. I like the WOW band because then I don't have to carry a key around when I'm just on the ship. It just is a cool little bracelet. I love it. So I love mine. The dining package, in our experience, is not the drinking package. Sorry, the drink package is worth it if you like to drink. So, if you're one that likes, a Bloody Mary or, a glass of wine before dinner or a cocktail, or you like to drink by the pool, or if you drink a lot of bottled waters. I mean, everybody's really different. The thing is if you get the drink package, then you don't have to worry about having a bill at the end.
Since the solarium is usually an adult-only venue, whatever is the seating area outside open to use for Celiac Cruise members with kids? Um, y- yes, they're not going to give you a hard time for those seats. Of course, there's one in every crowd, right? But for the most part, it's not been an issue because the way that the seats are kind of configured, you can tell it's extension of the bistro as opposed to it being like in the middle of where the actual solarium is. So it hasn't been a problem in the past. Do we need to show our wristbands at the pizza place? You just need to request a gluten-free pizza. I will tell you, they will see your wristbands because they're looking for them. Again, this is part of our training. It doesn't hurt to show them. Again, advocate for yourself as well in this environment, but I promise you, they will see your wristband. And we sometimes have, so if you think about your entire party is wearing the wristband because you're all eating together. So there's probably someone in your party who does not have celiac. So when you go and try and order something, if you were to order something outside of our dedicated spaces, possibly with gluten, a lot of times they also ask you about it. Are you sure you can have that? So that's how overtrained and nervous and cautious these people are. But again, we'd rather them be that way than the other. So just be courteous and know that they care that much and they're just trying to keep all of us safe.
Royal Caribbean allows you to bring one bottle of wine per person, up to two per cabin, and you can bring some sodas. There is an FAQ section on the Royal Caribbean website that tells you what you can and cannot bring. One of the things we wanted to remind you is that when you get to the port, make sure you keep your passport and any medications with you. Don't put those in your luggage because you'll need those to check in, and you want to keep all your identification and your medications with you.
Do I need to order Evians to my room if I purchase the drink package?
No, I wouldn't because you can get bottled waters and just bring them back up to your
Now
cabin.
there
That's
is a
what
water package though, and that is different. And those will automatic, if you just get the water package, those will automatically be in your cabin when you get there.
can we put the wristband on the lanyard to avoid having a wristband on the whole ship? So the purpose of the wristband is so that you have it, you won't be allowed in without it. And so that's why we have you wear it the whole time. Can non-celiac eat elsewhere and in the gluten-free areas? So everybody that is with our group is allowed to eat in all of our dedicated gluten-free dining areas. You can eat anywhere you want on the ship. If you want to consume gluten, go ahead. But our gluten-free areas are dedicated gluten-free, and with the wristband, you'll be allowed to enter anywhere.
Does a Celiac Cruise safe dining area has a formal night just for us? Well, no, because we again want people to kind of navigate their own vacation and not require people to dress anyway. But we are going to have a special event, a cocktail party with a fun silent disco night, and if that's kind of an event that is a little bit, it's in a really beautiful venue overlooking the boardwalk. So that might, you can call that if you want to try to, but a lot of people get dressed up for that. So, how do we book Royal Table or other fundraiser events? So email will be coming with all of the events. in just a few days. So it'll be specifically just for the events. Um, so this last one, let's see, I purchased activities, excursions on the app and on my laptop. A couple were booked under my name and some on my husband's name. They aren't showing up. Um, do you
I
know
would
how to
say
sync?
probably don't worry about it as long as you see it on the website. Sometimes the app takes a little while to refresh. You might log in and log back out. You can always call Royal Caribbean because that's their system if you have additional questions about that.
All
Awesome.
right. I think
Those were
that's
great,
everything.
great questions. Wow.
Yeah, you
Well,
guys are well
yeah.
done.
So
So
just a few.
obviously people will think of things, I'm sure, after the fact. Info@celiaccruise.com. That's where we want you to send them. If you're watching this recorded, please also send your questions there. But yes, we are so looking forward to meeting you all and seeing many of you again. We have a lot of return guests. It's a mini reunion. So for those of you who haven't met us before, you're about to join this big, wonderful family. So we can't wait, and we'll look forward to seeing many of you in just a few weeks. Well, thank you so much. And safe travels, everyone, to the warm, warm climate. For those of you who are about to have a lovely weekend of snow, just keep in mind what's coming around the corner. That's at least what I'm going to do. So, Connie, enjoy the rest of your journey, and we will see all of you very soon.